Hello everyone, in this episode of Project No Secrets, we send our R33 GTR off to Hypertune for a couple of weeks of some of the best fabrication on the planet, and we step this project up a notch. Now, if you watch our channel or you're an avid car enthusiast, you would have heard of the guys from Hypertune, founded in 1997. Now, their parts are on the wish list of many car enthusiasts, especially GTR owners, and having your car worked on by the guys at Hypertune is a dream for many car enthusiasts. To be honest, still me included. Why? Well, their parts work, they look great, and their fabrication work is just car porn. It's automotive artwork and simply stunning. Hypertune have worked on our long-term project car Jet 200 since 2007, doing the fabrication work for version 3 and 4, and then went all in doing the fabrication work for our VE conversion. We've showcased hundreds of GTRs using Hypertune products in our videos, but surprisingly, we've never had Hypertune parts on our own GTR. Yet. When the chance to collaborate on the build of our R33 presented itself, not only were we excited, the Hypertune crew were as well, as they remembered this R33 from the early days of the car scene in Australia. A great piece of nostalgia. Rather than just showcase the parts and how they work, we had the chance to see most of them being built from scratch. Hypertune combines the best of man and machine, with many parts designed in CAD before being made in one of their CNC machines. Other parts are built almost entirely by hand, although their welds are so good, you often can't distinguish them as man or machine. But the human touch is what makes them so good. First up, a quick overview of the Hypertune parts we're using before we go into detail of how each component works and is made. An RB26 version 2 inlet manifold with Bosch 82mm drive-by-wire throttle body and billet fuel rail. Matching V2 radiator and header tank, 100mm thick GTR intercooler, Hypex stainless V-band RB exhaust manifold, and billet dry sump cam covers. We then needed to custom fabricate intercooler pipes, dump pipe and screamer pipe with the TurboSmart 50mm external wastegate, TurboSmart raceport blow-off valve, and the Garrett G35 900 turbocharger. The RB26 inlet manifold is one of Hypertune's most popular items. It comes in version 1, which bolts to the base of the factory runners and uses the factory cooling system and pipes, but replaces the factory 6 throttles, has a larger plenum, and allows a cable or drive-by-wire single throttle. The V2 totally eliminates the factory runners altogether, which is perfect for us as we're starting with a bare block, not a complete engine. This makes for a smooth path from the bell mouths inside the plenum to the head with no joins or change in size. It does, however, totally change the cooling system in the car. Instead of a tube linking all of the water outlets in the head to a radiator pipe, it has 4 individual outlets that run to the radiator made to suit the V2 manifold. It also has 3 bleed ports that need lines to run to the header tank as part of the kit. This means that fitting a V2 inlet is a much more expensive exercise than fitting a V1. But the improved cooling system performance with more even water distribution is advantageous for race applications and people who want the ultimate for their GTR. For us, the cooling system performance benefits and the fact that we started with a bare engine were the key factors in our choice of going V2 over V1. The inlet manifolds start life as formed halves, but the runners, the base and the bell mouths are all CNC machined. The halves and the base of the inlet manifold are welded together, although at times it doesn't look it. The work is simply stunning. We optioned ours with a Bosch 82mm drive-by-wire throttle body that Hypertune make an adapter for. The underside of the inlet manifold also has plenty of ports that can be used for brake and clutch booster, as well as various vacuum sources. The V2 inlet manifold is matched to a dual-pass radiator that has 4 fittings welded on for the lines from the head. The radiator can be optioned with silicone hose style ends or Hypertune clamps for the bottom radiator hose. We've gone with clamps for better reliability. The radiator also comes with twin thermofans and a shroud, and is done this way to allow fitment for a dry sump pump and pulley. The radiator is bolt-in and uses the factory mounting locations. Hypertune's GTR intercooler is 100mm thick and uses cast tanks rather than billet tanks. That way, it can be made to the same shape as factory and it makes it a bolt-in item. You can also option it to use Hypertune clamps rather than silicone, so we had those welded on. It was cool to see the intercooler go from just a bare core to a completed item and see how much prep and care Hypertune put into their work. The Hypertune dry sump cam covers are completely CNC machined. As these are designed for a dry sump application, they don't need any baffles inside or an oil fill-up point. Ours are raw for now, but we will be getting them customised before final fitment. Hypertune's Hypex stainless manifolds are simply a work of art. We got to see the entire build process, so we can show you just how much work goes into them. The SS347 stainless bends and straights are picked out based on the build sheet for each particular manifold type. Investment cast SS347 is used due to its superior performance in high temperature applications. One of the key parts of the manifold is Hypertune's cast investment merge collector. Doing it this way means it has smooth flow, is strong, can handle heat, and has high resistance to cracking. Looking inside, you can see the merge is incredibly smooth, but allows good wastegate flow as well. We used a V-band flange to suit the Garrett G35 900 turbocharger. The first step of building the manifold is cutting all the pipes to the predetermined length and curves. Once that's done, the edges are all chamfered, and we'll explain why later. The next step is to put the flange and collector into the appropriate jig and tack up all of the pipes. Once it's all tacked into the correct shape, the runners are removed to be rubbed and cleaned. This is an important step in getting the final finish, once again showing the extra time and prep work that makes a huge difference at the end. It's then time to weld the manifold. Hypertune does this in 2 parts. Part 1 is fuse welding. This essentially fuses the pipes together, creating a strong bond for better strength. This is why the pipes are all chamfered, so the fuse welding can get all the way through the pipe. Notice that fuse welding doesn't add any material. Once the fuse welding is finished, the filler welding is then done. The chamfered edges means the filler sits into the groove and fills it up rather than on top, adding even more strength and making for a better finish. Argon is pumped through the inside of the manifold, which is sealed up during welding, eliminating oxidation on the inside of the manifold. Another step used to ensure perfect quality and strength. Once the welding is complete, each manifold is then hand ported and polished before the flange is decked to ensure it's flat. All up, there is over 2 days worth of manual work in one manifold done by a master craftsman. Combine that with high quality materials and you can see why they have a price premium and a waiting list over other manifolds. They are simply a work of art that is also functional. With the RB parts all made, the next step was to have them all fitted up. The manifolds, radiator and intercooler bolt straight up into the GTR. First up to be fabricated was the intercooler piping and attached the TurboSmart Raceport blow-off valve. An elbow was welded straight to the Garrett G35-900 so we could use Hypertune clamps and get better clearance. We also added triple port attachments on the hot and cold side to allow various things such as boost sauce, water meth or even nitrous to be hooked up in the future. Next was the stainless dump pipe with a flare from 3 out to 4 inch straight off the turbo. Well, the GTR's back at the shop and it is simply epic. Take a look at that. I've seen lots of cars come out of Hypertune, lots of big GTRs using their parts, but it still blows me away to take a look at this fabrication work on our GTR. Although it's only sort of the dummy stage of fabbing everything up, the work is faultless. It is some of the best fabrication work you're going to see anywhere in the world. And I'm actually genuinely honoured to be able to take the car there and get it worked on, and just pumped now that so much work has been done in here. It's just a big motivational step to move the car forward. The main reason that we did this dummy fab work first and not last is now we know where everything goes, we know how much space we've got to play with, we know what holes to fill up, so now we can do some of the repair work to the chassis. But as you can see, it is phenomenal. It's their entire catalogue, the inlet manifold, fuel rail, throttle body, radiator, intercooler, their exhaust manifold and their cam covers. This is just a dream come true for me, still, after being in the scene for so long. So yeah, pretty pumped to keep this GTR project moving along, and the guys at Hypertune, this is their standard. You don't have to sit there going, oh, you got a better job than someone else. They do all of their work this well. It's just some of the best automotive porn on the market in the world. So yeah, kind of lost for words now. Isn't that weird?